Good morning. Welcome to Diane's Kitchen. We've got some interesting news for you today. Two things we're going to put together that don't make any sense to put together. But when you hear my guest, Jennifer, talk about why these two things are put together, I think you're going to be impressed. Today's show, as always, is sponsored by the Body Shop Fitness Centers, both the one in Shell Lake and the one in Spooner. Don't forget, you've only got a limited time now for the ice cream at the Shell Lake Body Shop Fitness Center parking lot. I know it's odd, ice cream, fitness center, but the ice cream is absolutely amazing. You can get 3 flavors on one cone. Neither here nor there, but remember the Body Shop Fitness Centers, summer's going to be over pretty soon, and no more taking walks and swimming and hiking, and you're going to be under 6 feet of snow. So stop in, sign up, make a plan for this winter. I am so interested in the information you're going to bring today. Jennifer Beaudette?
Beaudette, yep.
So if you were in France with this Beaudet?
I don't think so.
Don't go to France. Then it won't be an issue.
There we go.
And what is your position, and who do you work for?
I work for Barron Electric Cooperative, and our headquarters is in Barron, but we have an outpost here in Spooner. My position is the Director of Member Services. I've been at the co-op for almost 25 years now. My
goodness, that's amazing. And you drove up here today for the what time did you have to get on the road?
I left my house at 7.
Oh,
so that's terrible.
Not bad. Good.
Yeah.
We've had people come from Madison.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just say, maybe I'll go up the night before and stay. It's like, yeah, I would if I were you.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
It is a long drive. It's a very long drive. Barron Electric puts out a wonderful newsletter. It kind of softens the blow of the bill. Of course, we have solar, but one of the head story was that this month? I think it was July.
It was July, yep.
Was 2 people getting together and doing something. You have Barron Electric, which is, how big would you say, how could you describe Barron Electric's size or?
Sure. We have 18,000 members.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yep. And we serve parts of 8 counties, but mainly Barron and Washburn County, and then parts of the surrounding counties.
Sure.
We kind of go into the surrounding counties, so we're in 8 counties. About 3,000 miles of power line.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And we have 45 employees.
Wow. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a fairly big co-op for Wisconsin. Sometimes the co-ops in the way south of the country, those are really big co-ops. But in Wisconsin, we're one of the bigger co-ops. We're not the biggest, but one of the biggest, bigger ones.
I would say you're pretty decent with all of that.
Yeah.
That is. And recently, you have Barron Electric has joined with, oddly enough, a potato company.
Yeah.
Nudo potatoes have been in business for 80 years. Produce the kitchen clean potato.
Yep.
They are wonderful because they're clean. They don't come all dirty and schmutzy. And
they are. I always look for the kitchen clean potatoes when I go to the grocery store.
Me too. And it's just so nice to have a nice bag. Why in the world would an electric company and a potato company, and Nudo is huge, what would possibly bring them together in a joint project, and why?
Well, we have a very good relationship with Nudo Farms. I've worked with Brian West. He's one of the owners, and I've worked with him a lot in the irrigation fields because we serve a lot of their irrigation fields, and we do load management that helps reduce the peak demands during high peak times, like when it's really hot, things like that. They help us out by allowing us to shut off irrigators, and then they get we have off-peak rates for those types of things. So We've been working with Nudo for many years, and they have a lot of accounts with Barron Electric. So anyway, the butterflies, the whole butterfly habitat.
Okay, wait a minute. What butterfly habitat?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip ahead?
Not for me,
Okay.
but for people watching. Why would a potato company and an electric company even consider putting in a wildlife butterfly habitat? Where is it? How big is it? And why?
Well, so the monarch butterfly is due to be listed on the endangered species list in December of 2020. And we wanted to do something for the butterflies. It also helps that we can still clear right-of-ways under our power lines and not hurt butterfly habitat if we put butterfly habitat someplace else. So it's kind of like replacing habitat that was under our power lines and putting it someplace else so that we can still clear for our power lines and maintain reliability.
And this is amazing because most companies, it's slash and burn. At least this is the attitude you get out of a big company. How stupid, these are wildflowers, these are native weeds along the roadway. Let's just cut them down. It's better for our power lines, it's better for this, it's better for that. But somebody said, yeah, but
Right.
it's the butterfly who pollinates these
Right.
and then moves on, finding their way eventually to Mexico, which just blows my mind.
Mine too.
I mean,
Their migration is unbelievable.
this is what amazes me. When butterflies first come, they, like everything, the birds, everything, the bees, the butterflies, they have babies. The babies only live a few weeks, grow up and have more babies. And how do they know who whispers in that last bench
Where to
of
go?
butterfly ears that they live 8 to 9 months? But they're tough months because they are flying
They're migrating.
to Mexico. I mean, there's tiny little things going all the way to Mexico.
I know.
And it's amazing how they eat on their way down. You can see where they go from north to south.
Yep.
Because as our things freeze, die, are gone, the states south of us are just coming in.
Yep.
And by the time they get to Florida and, hop over to Mexico, they have eaten their way,
Yep. All the
Down.
way there. Yep.
pollinating as they go.
That's right.
Just fascinating. So your company decided, you know what? Because we are robbing them, because they take the highways more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. And in our right-of-ways is a natural place for those habitats to grow.
Yes.
But in order to keep that reliability and keep the power on all the time, we have to clear the right-of-ways. So if we plant butterfly habitat someplace else, then the butterflies still have a place to go and eat as they migrate. In Nudo Farms, because we've had a good relationship with them, and they have the planting expertise and the equipment and the land.
Well, they do. If anybody knows planting, it would be Noodle Farm.
That's right. So so actually, I had called Brian West probably about 6-8 months ago, and I said, your irrigation goes in a circle, and there's the corners of the fields. Is there any chance we can plant habitat in your corners? And he said, well, we park a lot of vehicles there. I'd hate
sure.
to plant stuff there and then run
Lose
it
the
over.
parking.
So then he said, well, let me talk to my brother. And Dennis West is who I ended up working with the most on the project, and his son Adam. And anyway, Dennis called me and he said, we have a field we're not using. And if you want, we'll plant habitat with you. So they actually donated the field. I think it's a 15-acre field, and we did 10 acres in butterfly habitat, and then they planted some sunflowers in there as well. So Barron Electric bought half of the seed, and they bought half of the seed, and then they planted it they worked the field up, and then they planted it for us, and they've been wonderful to work with. So
I can imagine it must be glorious to see 10 acres of milkweed, wildflowers. I noticed they planted some grasses in with that. So it would be almost like going back to prairie days in the United States.
Yep.
I think it's absolutely amazing. I mean, for these two people to do that.
Yeah. So, and since we've planted it, we've gone out to the field, checked on it several times, see how it's growing. So that's been really interesting. We've gone out weekly and taken photos so that we can kind of see its progression. And but what I've learned in the last month or so is that it takes about 3 years for it to really be mature.
Right.
So this year the field is green.
Yeah.
So there's no flowers out there. But one of the things that we learned with the seed is you have to have seed that will flower from May through October for the butterflies. So that as they're migrating through, that there's flowering plants out there all that time. So when we actually worked with an agronomist that Nudo suggested, Elk Mound Seed Company, and he put together the seed. And I told him what I needed it to flower, and he did some research on which plants to do, and then he put the seed together for us. So yeah, we've learned a lot about it.
I think I put in a wildflower garden. I call it a meadow, simply to eliminate some of the grass around the house because my husband is a lawnmower. I mean, and this was all the push area. I don't care if he spends all day on the big mower, but that little pitsy, going around. I was just amazed. I mean, you follow the rules. You do what you have to do, take off all the sod and then rough it all up and then mix the seed with sand so it goes farther. It was amazing 2 months ago. Now, it is overwhelming. It is full of flowers for anywhere from 5 feet to 6 inches.
Oh, wow.
Pinks and blues and yellows and purples, and it's overwhelmingly beautiful.
Yeah.
And somehow I can kind of see more people going to this. It's not hard to do.
It's not.
But especially with the ability of Nudo Farms.
Yeah, when you're doing a 10-acre field, Barron Electric doesn't have the equipment to plant a 10-acre field or to work up a 10-acre field. So
nor an agronomist, yeah, on speed dial.
Right, exactly. So with the relationship that we've had with them, it just worked out. It just worked out as a perfect partnership to be able to do this. And, they want to do good things for the environment, and Barron Electric wants to do good things for the environment.
And there again, it's like a miracle. Who wants to do anything for the environment? Because the environment isn't the bottom line. And so many, people, it's the bottom line.
Right.
It's tough beans. It's for our bottom line. This is what we're going to do.
Right.
But here you've got two huge companies putting in a wildflower habitat for butterflies, for bees, for all sorts of things. Yep. I didn't realize until I was doing something about bees, 1/3 of the products that we eat are because of bees.
From pollinators, yes.
And if we lose these, if they're on the endangered species list as of December, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to all of this stuff?
Right. I mean, you have to protect the environment in order for all of us to continue.
1/3.
Yeah.
That's a lot of produce. That's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of grains. It's evidently when I was putting in my wildflower garden, butterflies are especially attracted to bright colored flowers that grow in clusters, open during the day with flat surfaces. So you can see where sunflowers, big, flat surface. And you look at the flowers in the ditches that thrive in the worst possible conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And they are just gorgeous. I mean, huge swaths of, this time of year, they're yellow, and pretty soon in the fall, they'll all turn purples. And that you forget that these are vital because they're feeding butterflies and bees and birds.
Yeah, it's kind of funny as I got into this project. It was probably about a year ago. I went to our manager and I said, I think we should do this. I think we should plant this butterfly
Good
habitat. And he was all for it. And I said, well, I got to think about a couple of ways. And then I talked to him and I said, is it okay if I call Noodle Farms and ask them? And he said, I think that's a great idea. So,
see, that's when you should ask for a raise. I'll have to train you.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's watching.
Oh, good. Maybe you'll get a raise. I mean, it's a great idea. It's wonderful for the economy and wonderful for
Well,
try.
Yeah. So anyway, we started the project, and I started doing some research on it, and it's just amazing the travels that they take and what all goes into all of it. But by clearing our right of ways, if we want to replace everything that we clear, in the end, I'm hoping in the next 5 years or so, we'll plant a lot more of it. So Nudo actually has already told me that they have another field that they're willing to do next year. So they're a great partnership.
So next time we see you, you'll have this long, gauzy, flowing gown, flowers in your hair. Mother Nature strikes again.
Maybe so.
Another 10 acres for the butterfly. Is this seeable? Because in this, it's a 10-acre garden near Sarona on Long Lake Avenue.
Yes. So Long Lake Avenue turns right off of Highway 53. Mm-hmm. It's on the east side of 53.
Okay.
And it's probably about between a half a mile and a mile off of 53 on Long Lake Avenue.
Towards the east.
Yep, it's on the north side of the road. And we have a sign out front that says Butterfly Garden. And it's got our logo and Nudo's logo on it. There's a little driveway that you can drive in that you're not driving on Habitat, and then you can see it. So far, it's not flowering. We're excited to see it flower, but everything we've learned, it takes about 3 years for it to really start to flower and be the habitat that we want it to be. So as we're doing it, we're learning, but it's really exciting to watch it grow.
And once you get these seeds started, these plants started, if they can grow on the side of a highway without any water, I mean, there's no worse dirt than the stuff that's alongside the highway.
Right.
And yet they absolutely flourish.
Right.
So that's another nice thing that you...
It should take care of itself eventually.
Right, because it can grow in the worst conditions.
Right.
Eventually, can you see this, I don't know, maybe advertised a little bit more for people to see, to encourage people to come out? And
eventually, yeah, when it's pretty. Right now it's just green, and which is green is pretty, but I think, I've seen butterfly gardens that other people have grown, and after the third year, then they really start to flourish and flower. And I could see a lot of people wanting to come and see it, and hopefully there'll be butterflies there. That's the whole purpose, is that we'll have butterflies out there.
Right, because you also planted milkweed.
Yes, we did.
Which is everything.
The milkweed is the only food for the monarch butterfly. That's the only thing they eat. So
they lay their eggs.
Yep.
They all form.
The
baby is born and starts to eat.
Yep.
Right away.
Yep.
Reminds me of my two sons.
Mine too.
Yeah. It was amazing when they finally grew up and went away. It's like, wow, We are saving a fortune in food. They'd get up from the table after supper and open the refrigerators.
I know. You just ate.
Yeah. Not enough.
Yeah.
So what else is Barron Electric doing?
Well, we're actually going to have our annual meeting coming up in August.
So you're going to have a meeting.
We are. That has been a challenge with the pandemic.
Sure.
So we're going to have that at the Stardust Drive-In, which is also a Barron Electric member.
I go by the Stardust Drive-In every other day.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? I see the sign. I see the stuff out on the highway, and all around it is trees. How do you get there?
You can either get there from Chautauqua on Highway D, or from Barron, you go down Highway O to 00, and they're on, I believe it's 22 3/4. I'm not sure about that. I think that's the road, though. It's just, it's a little town road off of Highway O. And you pull in there, and they have quite a bit of room, about enough room for 250 cars. So we're going to have the meeting.
You stay in your car?
And everybody's going to stay in their car.
Really?
So that we don't contribute to the spread of COVID.
Sure.
But so that we can...
Or get in trouble with any entity that's making the rules today.
Yep, and we're supporting a member by doing it because Stardust is a member, and so we like to support our members as well.
Is that ever clever? A drive-in movie meeting.
Yep.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, the drive-in actually has been doing church services there for local churches, for different local churches, so that people can still go to church and maintain their social distance. So
they stay in their car.
Yep.
Is it shown, or is there a guy up in the front?
Well, ours will not be after dark, so we'll have a person up front. There won't be a screen. We won't be able to put them on the screen because it's not after dark. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have microphones, and the people in their cars will hear it on their radio. What
a cool experience.
Yeah.
I mean, what a cool experience. Something to tell your grandkids.
Yes, and with the pandemic, we've all had to adapt and adjust, right?
And aren't some people beyond clever?
We have to be, right?
You really do, but so many people are still scratching their heads and going, I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many opportunities. Who ever thought a drive-in, theater?
Right. I would have never thought it until this year when we had to try and figure out something to make it happen.
Well, they really should, on the highway where their sign is and the big Stardust.
Yeah.
They should put instructions on how to find it, because you can see it, but you can't get there.
Yeah, not right there. Not from right where that sign is, yes.
Right. That would be, very clever. Now, what do you do? What's determined at these meetings?
Well, the directors are elected at our annual meeting. So every year there's 3 directors that are elected. We have 9 directors on our board. And there's 3 that are up for election each year. So this year we have 3 different districts, and we have one of the districts that has contested elections, so we'll have to do a ballot vote for that. The members also have to approve any bylaw changes. So we do have some bylaw changes. That'll all be in our August 1st newsletter, which will come out next week. So they'll vote on the bylaw changes, and then they'll vote on director elections. Our typical annual meeting, we have guest speakers and things like that, but this year we're shortening it because of the pandemic. So the other thing that we're doing, because we're a co-op, we're a not-for-profit. So our margins are given back to the members that paid them. So this year, we're giving back $1.1 million to our members. It's going to be a credit on their electric bill, on their August 1st electric bill.
Oh.
And we typically, capital credits are retired after 20 years, so you pay them in. We use the money to do our operations, and then they're paid back after 20 years. This year, we're going to pay back a portion of 2019, so more members are going to get money back. And we wanted to do that because we know that there's a lot of people that are out of work. There's a lot of people that need money right now. So our board approved $1.1 million back to the membership.
Well, what a
So-
great co-op. What a great co-op. So the annual food picnic checks.
Yes, our October co-op month. So October is co-op month, so we always have an event in Spooner and one in Barron County. But this year we're not going to do that. So we're combining our annual meeting with the co-op month event and the capital credits. So we're doing the credits on the August 1st bill to get them
Okay.
to the membership earlier, and so that we're not handing out checks and, limiting some of that exposure. That's why we're doing credits on the bill. Typically we do checks, but
Yeah.
this
And that
year,
was a day so many people look forward to.
yes.
I mean, you got music, you got homemade ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
you got to see neighbors and friends that, you see once a year. Most people, it's Christmas. No, up here, it's October.
Yep.
And it's the day that we all go out and pick up your check. I mean, it's a happy day.
It is a happy day, and we're sad that we can't have it this year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we want to make sure that we keep our
Exactly.
members and our employees safe.
Well, exactly.
So,
Yeah, just think you can't get your blood pressure taken this year there. It was so clever, the things you could take food for, the food pantry.
Yep.
You could be tested for all sorts of things, your physical person, you could get your whatever done. It was really a fun day. I think it's going to be really sad for a lot of people to realize that, what?
yeah. Well, hopefully we can come
I
back
know.
and do it like
I
normal
know.
next year.
I know.
We are collecting food for the food pantry at the annual meeting, though.
Okay.
So we are doing that at the annual meeting. That's probably the one thing that we're doing
Sure.
that we continue to do is to
Right.
the food for the food pantries because they are in need right now. And then everybody that comes will get a free pound of cheese and a free pound of butter because we
my.
want to support our local dairy farmers.
Yes.
They are struggling too, so we try to do things that are good for our local economy, local people, our members.
And your board is constantly changing, which I think is very healthy. It's not like the whole board goes and a new board comes,
Right.
but they cycle in 3 at a time.
That's right.
And consistently, you've had a very caring board. Who else would put the time, the money, all of this stuff just to be ecologically good for the area? Because they're taking out the plants on the side of the road, but they are replacing them with massive. Can you imagine being a butterfly or a bee
I know.
next year flying over 10 acres? It must be like, holy cow, look
It'll
at
be
that.
heaven.
I always thought heaven was up, but it seems to be these 10 acres here. This is why I wanted to talk to you. I think this goes well beyond the responsibility of 2 companies.
Well, thank
So
you.
they should be definitely honored for the amazing work they're doing and the amazing work you're doing, especially with the raise you're going to get. You have been a delight. You have really informed us, especially those of us who have Barron Electric, that we've really got a wonderful co-op.
Well, thank you.
You are more than welcome. Thank you. If people want any information, if they are Barron Co-op people and they would like more information, what's the best way to find you?
The best way is to call our office. Our main office number is 715-537-3171. So you can call our office. You can ask for me. I'm Jennifer, or anybody in the Member Services Department.
Okay.
We can all help out. If you...
Can they Google you and find you?
Oh, absolutely. BarronElectric.com is our website.
Oh, perfect.
There's lots of information on our website.
Oh, good. I think people need to know what's going on in their own electric company. I mean, this is amazing. Your newsletter is always, it's full color, it's short, it's sweet, it's informative. And people that just open their bill, and throw the newsletter away, they really should read it. They might be in for a big surprise.
Yeah.
What? They're putting in a butterfly habitat? Why? Well, now you know why.
Yeah.
It's been another interesting interview. A time to sit. We didn't drink any coffee. Got too interested. But this is where the world is going. Not only is it going crazy with this COVID thing, but people are starting to understand if we don't take care of nature, nature will not take care of us. So there's your thought for the day. We'd also like to remind you that if you need physical therapy, Greenfield PT and Sports Medicine is back open and running, and they are magnificent. And another magnificent group is Edina Realty, the Lakes team. They are experts in all of the lakes in a wide area. You want someplace to fish, they've got it. You want someplace to recreate, they've got it. You want empty land, you want a house on it, give them a call in Spooner, Edina Realty Lakes team. It's gone so fast, this half hour. Seems like we just sat down, and now you get to drive all the way back to
That's all right.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Been a delight. So until next week, when Diane's Kitchen comes once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and remember, keep it cooking.